Holding here in Lagos, we'll bring you updates as to what transpired and what you should expect, on the day. So tune in every day on the morning Crossfire from about this time, in the next 3 to 5 minutes, talking about the annual general conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. Our political and judiciary editor, Justice Mark Nobusin, will be doing that for us all through the period of the conference. Yes. Let's get on with our conversation this morning. This morning on the Morning Crossfire, we are looking at value-added tax imposition on online transactions. If you listened to the Morning Crossfire yesterday on the chit chat, we had this chat, myself and Wemimo, on the chit chat early in the morning at about 6:20 something, and it was quite tough. It was quite a very tough discussion. So yes, we have brought in an expert in economic policy and the financial analyst. Our in-house Tunji Andrews is here. Tunji, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Have you been taxed yet? It hasn't started, right?
Online tax.
Online tax.
It's from the reports. It says it's going to start in 2020.
2020. Let's start with VAT. What is VAT, Tunji? It seems a lot of people are. What is VAT?
So basically, VAT is value-added tax, and it's pretty much a tax by the government to excuse me, I don't know what just happened. To basically acknowledge the processes of improvement in good production. So in every step of the way, in every creation stage of producing a good or service,
right,
there's a value addition to it. And the government, because of the fact that the government creates, or it is assumed that the government...
Are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
I just rephrased it in my head. I thought about it and I was like, no, that's not what I want to say. But it is assumed that the government has created the enabling environment for you to be able to create the value addition. So There is a tax that is placed on every level of value addition that you create. So, for instance, if I sell cashew nuts, for instance, so the fact that I've gone to the farm, I've been able to put the farm to, then I'm selling it, I should be able to put VAT.
Right.
The next level, maybe you're packaging it together, putting it in some kind of container.
Right.
There should be a value addition to that also. So basically, it's a government tax on goods and services across the country.
Who is to pay this value-added tax? The
Consumers.
Producer or the consumers?
The consumers.
Right.
Consumers, yeah.
So let's move on to what can justify. So you stop laughing. What can justify a government to say that yes, we have a right, or would you say all governments, whether they have done their own part in the production of that particular goods or services, and be able to put up a value-added tax on any commodity?
Well, yes. Any commodity, yes, they should be able to, because I mean the general context and the belief, I keep saying it's the belief, right, that for you to be able to sell those goods and services, the government needs to have created peace in the country. The government needs to have created roads to which you use.
Right.
The government has needed to have created power. Basically the enabling environment for you to be able to do this thing. So yes, the government needs to tax you for...
So can we go there now?
No, we can go there.
We can go there. So I have a factory, hypothetically, a pure water factory.
Okay.
And the road to my factory is terrible. I bought granite, made the road myself. I provide electricity for my factory.
Yeah.
I provide almost everything I need in the production, and that will make my So,
do you still pay tax?
Do I still need to pay tax, especially value-added tax?
Well. Okay. So here's the thing, right? And I'm sure the people at the bottom of the ladder do not know this, but the guys above, really know that if that situation happens,
right,
and you create the infrastructure to your factory, for instance, the government, either the state or the federal government, usually tends to give you a tax cut. For instance, I have seen a situation whereby somebody built the road to his estate.
Right.
And basically the government said, okay, we'll pay, this is the state government, by the way, said we'll pay you back, but of course we can't pay you back cash. What we'll just do is that we'll just, cut your tax for the next couple of years or next 3, 4, 5 years till the road has been paid for.
Right.
So basically the idea is that it's basically around the amenities. So for instance, if you remember, there was a discussion some time ago about Dangote creating the road to Apapa.
Right.
He was saying that he was going to do it with cement and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then the government said, okay, we'll give you tax breaks for because of that. So usually it's around those issues. So if you create the amenities, if you can prove it to the government, and of course you should have spoken to them before you do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you should have spoken to them before you do it. So if you're able to create it, then you should get tax breaks. Yeah.
Let's unveil the masquerade in the room.
Okay.
Value-added tax on online transaction. What's your general thought about it before we break it down?
Okay, so I get where they're coming from, and of course this is a time where Nigeria has a squeeze in terms of revenue. We don't have as much money as we would like to have, so we're looking for everywhere and anywhere we can possibly find money, right? So it's a situation where we've looked around and we're looking for where are the volumes. Asking the bankers what was moving the money, where's the money going to, and then there is this large cashment of money moving in and out of online transactions, especially buying goods and services.
Right.
And you can't even blame them. We're hearing adverts every day saying, "Oh, buy global, pay local." All those kind of ads. It's showing that this is a vibrant part of the economy, and the government is saying, "Well, we." So here, this is where the problem is.
Okay, there's a problem. Okay.
So the government is probably looking at it from the same perspective of value-added tax, right? So we create the enabling environment.
What is the enabling environment? What are they talking about?
Okay, yeah, this is where the problem now comes up, because the internet really doesn't belong to anybody. Even in as much as they create. They gave the telcos the licenses and blah 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 blah.
Right.
But here's the general challenge I have with the VAT, and I've said it before. So every good and service that is sold by online malls, and anybody can check. I don't think there's any online mall in Nigeria that stocks. Okay, yeah, there are a few that stocks their own goods. So they go and buy and then they stock it in their warehouse.
Right.
But it's a very inefficient model, especially knowing Nigeria for what it is. So most companies are moving away from it. The biggest online malls, the biggest ones, I think the 3-4 biggest ones, do not actually stock the goods in their warehouse.
Right.
What they do is that, so Sheriff is a seller of iPhones, for instance.
That's a good one.
So what they do is that Sheriff comes to them, says, I do this.
Right.
So the Sheriff shows them his they have their vetting process, whatever it is. So they take pictures of what Sheriff has and then they put it on their website.
Right.
So when Tunji comes
so directly they are not in charge of that.
Exactly, they are not in charge of it. So when Tunji wants to buy something from Sheriff
from their own company.
Yeah. So what they do is that they now take the order, because since you're Lagos, if you've ever followed the order placement, there's always a order has been placed waiting fulfillment.
Right.
Fulfillment has been done. Shipping is in process.
Right.
You get?
Right.
So that fulfillment is they've gone to meet Sheriff. Sheriff says, "Oh, I still have those iPhones."
Right.
You get?
Right.
Take the one. So we have an order for it. Then that is where the fulfillment is done. So they don't really own it. Now, the person that is the Sheriff has already put the VAT on his good and service. Do you understand?
Okay.
So, and also the bank transaction, which of course happens via the bank, also has a VAT charge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So the question now we want to now ask is, why are we then paying a third VAT charge for the same item?
For one item.
One item. So, and this is where I think they didn't think it through properly. So in the Western world, it is common to be able to pay before service.
Right.
So Sheriff wants to buy a big screen TV. He pays with puts his card details, blah, 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 blah. They have a good process where even if after I've received the TV, I don't want it, I return it and I can still block the payment, but the payment has already started going in process. So there's a way to collect the money.
It's been initiated.
Yeah,
right?
It's been initiated. Here, It's a pretty much straightforward process. So if I want to buy the screen TV, if I want to pay before service,
Right.
the money physically leaves my account and
You'll be seeing it leave.
yeah, it goes to the other person's account. And the challenge with that is that a lot of Nigerians don't want to do this because of trust issues. So I'm sure you've probably seen all those memes on social media where they'll say, "This is what I ordered. This is what I got."
Yeah.
And people have been afraid to do that for a while, and it's been a struggle with online malls because it's killing them.
Right.
And I'll explain why it's killing them. So, I come and buy something for. It's just the same way I've explained the fulfillment.
Right.
The order has been shipped.
Right.
Now I've sent my dispatch rider. Boom, 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 boom. Comes to your shop, picks the item, takes it back to our warehouse that is closest to your house. Remember that it's around Lagos and even around Nigeria. So I bring it to the shop that is closest to your house. You say you want to pay on delivery. Then I boom, 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 boom. Now come to your house. Then I start calling you, boom, boom, and then the person doesn't pick, or the person sees the item and says, "Lie, I'm not taking this. Take it back." That transportation,
Right.
is going to be nobody's going to.
Who takes care of the cost?
The cost goes to the mall, the online mall. So the online malls are trying to get people to pay before service,
Right.
and are hoping that people would, buy into this. This extra charge, because people are now knowing mentally that, oh, I'm going to pay another extra 5%, so I might as well just either pay before service or just go to the physical store and pick it up myself.
Right.
Because it's going to be cheaper, because if you look at it, the physical store doesn't have multiple charges.
Right.
It doesn't even have if I'm paying cash, there's no need of having an extra VAT charge. So why don't I go?
Is this a bad or very bad or totally bad idea?
No, I think it's not.
I'm trying not to
I think
use
it's not a well thought out idea. And the sincere truth is, what they should do, is sit down with all the online malls.
Oh,
You
okay.
get?
Okay.
They have audit processes.
Do they?
They all do. I mean, even one of them recently, the audit process is causing problem in the abroad right now, where it's said that they they've been labeled all sorts of things. But so they're audit processes, just the
Right.
same way with any other business. So every sale, the VAT charge should be done at that point. So the person that has sold it, so Sherry, for instance, the question the FIRS needs to answer is, who pays the VAT charge?
Right.
Is it the online mall or the seller themselves? You get? And at that point, then they decide who to collect the VAT from on the product.
As it stands right now, who pays that
You.
VAT?
You,
Me, the buyer.
the buyer. It has nothing to do with the online mall.
So the VAT initially
Yeah.
from the production stage,
Yeah.
that the
Will be collected from the manufacturer.
for the manufacturer,
Yeah.
which he in turn now imposes on me
Yes. Again.
through the goods.
Yeah. And you will still pay it. And this is even the funny thing, because most people do not even realize this. So the FIRS says we'll use banks as our collection agents, right? So that definitely means that either they're going to impose the tax directly from per transaction. It's going to definitely be per transaction.
Right.
And it's always the customer that pays the VAT charge, not the consumer.
Always the customer.
Always the customer. Do you get? It's always the customer that pays the VAT
So
charge.
the producer literally just produces goods.
Yeah.
Whatever the government is charging him, it transfers to
It
you.
transfers to you. Everybody just transfers it, so you are the one that gets to pay it.
This is quite interesting and alarming at the same time. But Tunji, very very quickly, I think we need to talk about what kind of transactions are involved here, because not online transactions are involved in goods and
Okay,
all
so
these
this
things,
is where it becomes vague, right? It becomes really vague at this point, and it's scary because what does the government mean by online transactions? Do you get? I am assuming they are meaning online purchases of physical goods and
I assume that
items.
too. Well, during the prep for this show,
Yeah,
the argument came up and we searched everywhere. What we were seeing was just online transactions. Nobody broke it down.
So you see, we assume that worst case scenario, this is what they are talking about. This is what we believe. Worst case scenario, this
No way.
has to be what they are talking about, because they can't be talking about the other one, right?
What if they're talking about the other one?
then you do realize that they don't understand what's going on. Because I imagine having to, every POS transaction,
Right.
I have to pay an extra VAT charge for it. And I'm thinking to myself, you are pushing as a country a cashless agenda, right? And then this is just going to make people start to think, I might as well just collect the cash and be spending it so that I don't have to pay extra charges.
Right.
Because it's, and you, 5% of everything is 5% of everything. So 5% of 100 naira is 5 naira. 5% of 1,000 naira is 50 naira. And as it goes higher, the VAT charge also gets higher.
Right.
So imagine going to buy a big screen TV, which already has a VAT charge at the store.
Right.
Then the bank also charges you VAT via FIRS. So you're thinking, haba.
How about you transferring money to somebody, for
Bam.
instance?
That's also an online transaction.
It is an online transaction.
You get so
You're already being charged by your banks
School
about
fees.
50 something.
School
What do they call
fees.
that charge again?
Yeah, school fees.
Transferring school fees. Just
Rent.
name it.
rent payments. I'm telling you, almost everything.
This
So
is quite ambiguous, right?
let's just hope.
Why are we hoping, Tunji? Is this about somebody not knowing what they're doing? Do you think we have people in place who actually understand what they're doing?
Okay, so sometimes you read the headlines and you're wondering and you get confused a lot, and you just hope that you want to believe. Honestly, you just want to believe that they know what they're doing. But from the outside here, a lot of the times it doesn't feel that way. But you just want to believe that they have the right minds, who have analyzed it properly, who have gamed the scenario, looked at what the resultant effects can be, especially for the industry.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that anybody that is looking at it from the perspective of, we don't want to kill this industry, because if you look at the online malls we've had in Nigeria, right? The two biggest ones,
Right.
one has sold
Right.
to another company,
Right.
and is basically almost gone comatose right now. The second one has gone to list on
New York Stock Exchange.
and is going through multiple issues right now.
Right.
And that is, if both of them then actually go on to fail, it then just means that ecosystem is threatened. And the smaller ones are struggling. You need to speak to them.
Tunji, we'll talk about the viability of the online business in Nigeria, especially in regards to this new development that will start next year. If you are just joining us, you're welcome. This is the Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info. We're discussing the proposed taxation, that's VAT, value added tax, imposed or to be imposed on all online transactions by the federal government through the Federal Inland Revenue Service come January next year. We are back with your comments and your observations. When we return, your phone calls will be taken as well. If you've not joined us online yet, please do that. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube as we speak. Let's head out now for a short break. We are back in a moment.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Morning Crossfire. This morning we're looking at the proposed value-added tax imposition on all online transactions by the federal government to commence next year, 2013. What are the angles to this particular move by the federal government? Good move, bad move, not too good move, very good move. We'll be looking at this. Tunji Andrews is in the studio. Tunji Andrews is a financial analyst and expert economic expert as well. Tunji Andrews, thank you for joining us once again on the Morning Crossfire.
Thank you for having me.
It's 8:30 from our studios. Remember, you can join us live on Facebook and YouTube. Our Facebook page is streaming live this show. If you like to look at us and see us and listen at the same time, feel free to join us at Nigeria Info FM Lagos on Facebook, Nigeria Info FM on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, go there, subscribe, so you can watch us live. You can drop us your comments on this particular move by the federal government to impose value-added tax, 5% on all. It's not been explained yet, so we're left to just go with the all online transaction
Exactly.
thing. So hopefully they will come explain to us exactly what they meant by online transactions much later on. That seems to be their usual practice. They shoot first and hit their own target, then come back and explain why they actually aimed for that target but hit this one. Okay, so back to the show. Feel free to drop your comments on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM on Twitter. On Facebook page, just below the streaming video, you can drop your comments as well. We'll take all these comments as we go along on the show this morning. Plus, of course, the phone lines will be opened in a moment. Tunji, let's get on with our conversation this morning. Let's talk about the effect of this move on online business owners. I mean, we've been making references to the big online malls. There are other smaller malls. There are other, one-man businesses online that, do business, small scale if you like, entrepreneurs if you like. Online community is growing bigger and bigger. The value of online trading in Nigeria is being said to be about 13 billion or so, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge market, and that is not just made up by big players alone. There are other small players. I mean, those are even much more than the big players. What will the influence of these developments be on them?
So it's when you look at let's look at the players themselves.
Right.
Many of them are struggling from every angle of the value chain. So they're struggling in terms of logistics. That is having to get the goods and services from one point to another. Recently, Jumia just came out and talked about the fact that there was some intense fraud happening within its organization. So you see that a lot of the times there's issues with their dispatch riders, there's issues with their inventory, there's issues with collection from vendors and taking it back to the vendors. They have a myriad of issues.
System is not perfect yet.
They're still trying to go through the teething issues, and hopefully hoping that because of the fact that we have a very large large number, we would be able to make this work.
Right.
For instance, people have looked at it hoping to have the Alibaba of Nigeria, for instance. And if it does work, this is going to create massive infrastructure for the Nigerian online businesses going forward.
Right.
But they've struggled. I remember speaking to one of the smaller, I think those ones, they just sell clothes and shoes. Yeah, it's an online mall, fashion accessories. And, they were always looking for, operational cash flow just to keep going. They were borrowing the money at very expensive fees. So the industry is going through a lot. Cost of acquisition of customers is high.
Wow.
Because here's the problem with it. The reason why we know those two online malls isn't because they were so effective, was because they, at some point, both of them basically molested. I'll use the word molested us with their adverts. Radio, TV, online. It was everywhere you looked, you clicked. It was their adverts. It was bam, 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 and they became names that we became very used to.
Right.
Now the cost of all of that ran into millions, maybe even billions.
Even billions.
You get. And all this cost is huge,
Right.
because the value of an online mall is that people go there and shop. There's no point opening an online mall. It's not like a physical shop
Exactly.
where, if nobody comes to
Exactly.
buy, the goods will be there tomorrow. You know,
Right.
this one, if nobody comes to buy, you're wasting money because the goods really don't belong to you.
Right.
So it's a problem. It's a problem, right? This is the point where I feel that people within government, should be looking at key sectors that have growth potential and thinking, how can we help? How can we make these guys, do better business? Not trying to, because this might kill them. This might kill them.
I will not buy online again. You're saying might. I will not buy online again.
I don't
because
think there's anybody that will.
I would not want to pay a 5% VAT on,
So
let's
I
say,
don't think there's
a
anybody that
commodity
will.
that's 120,000 naira.
I don't
for
think there's
instance,
anybody-
and somebody is charging me 5% of that.
You get.
For what exactly?
And the issue here is this. It says government is using the banks as collection portals, and then the thing is, how is the collection going to be? So, the way my mind views it, and I might be wrong, right, is that it's going to be collected the way banks collect their COT charges and their SMS charges.
Right.
So, for instance, after you've done SMSs for a while, and then one day you just get an alert, 1,020 naira has been
Exactly.
removed, SMS
That
charges.
pisses
So
me off all the
imagine
time.
you've made multiple online transactions, and then boom, biddy bam, biddy boom, at the end of the month, then you get online charges for the month.
Right. Right.
Online VAT charges for the month, and you get an amount for it, and you're thinking to yourself, what's going on? What's going on?
Are we looking at the death of the medium scale enterprises?
It's very possible.
that the government
It
has
is
been
very
trying
possible.
so hard to revive.
It is very possible. I don't see how online malls are going to explain this away. And I think that at this point they should be having serious conversations with the government
Right.
and trying to explain to them what the implications of this are on people. And let me even tell you how the online malls are trying to encourage people to pay before delivery.
Right.
So if you pay before delivery to a few online malls, I think I can even use the example because they are the ones that are still doing pay on delivery. Jumia, if you pay before, you get I think a 5% discount.
Right.
Just to encourage you that thank you for paying before.
Just pay.
You get
in advance.
in advance. So they're trying to tell you if you pay before, you get a discount. And if you pay before, you can get maybe 30 to
This,
40.
that.
Those kind of discounts. So you even pay cheaper if you
Right.
pay before service.
Right.
I think even they have a global and a local. I don't know how they do it, but if you're paying before delivery, you pay a lot less than you pay when you're paying on delivery. Do you get? So it's them trying to say we need people to pay before delivery.
Does it make any sense in this regard, whereby some Nigerians actually don't patronize local malls? They patronize foreign malls and they bring things
Well,
in.
they believe the local malls. It's an issue of quality.
And you want to charge them 5%. Why? Who is charging the value-added tax and who is collecting the value-added tax?
Yeah, well, but like I said, it doesn't concern the vendor. It's all down to you. It will be charged from your account. It's not the vendor. So if you're doing an online transaction to ASUS or something from wherever, they don't care.
Right.
They just get a transaction alert that is international that has hit their own account.
Right.
They don't care where it comes from, and they don't know the FIRS, so they're not going to come and meet the FIRS and say take
Right,
your
right.
VAT charges. And I think that is the main consideration, and I may be wrong because like we said, it's online charges, which is vague and broad. But I think that may be the consideration because we are spending a lot on online malls, especially because of these FX and things like that. So yeah, they don't know you. So they don't know your FIRS. They don't really care where the order comes from.
Indeed.
So it's you and your bank that is going to speak
Let me
to
take
FIRS.
this comment on our Facebook. Ogunlari Oluwafemi on Facebook said, if I understand this, don't you listen? If I understand this, let me break it down. I get charged for getting ATM, say 1,000 naira. They charge me card maintenance a card that is with me. They charge when it involves another bank, and now they want to be charging for for any transaction I do again, because withdrawal or deposit through the ATM is an online thing. That's a part I want you to key into.
So honestly, I'm trying to play devil's advocate and be on the FIRS side
Has it
here.
been easy so far?
It's not. I'm
I'm
trying.
sorry for you.
I'm really dying here because So I think they should have, and this is why I'm not entirely sure they see how the implications of it, because if they did, they would have gone out to explain all this vagueness away.
Right.
But hopefully the backlash might make them, explain it more. Because everything I'm talking about, you go to a restaurant and you pay for food. You go, you pay your child's school fees, you pay your own school fees. Imagine some of international students who will pay school fees abroad.
Right.
So imagine paying $20,000-$30,000,
Right.
and then you're going to pay 5% VAT again because you're just thinking to yourself, what in God's name?
Right.
And so many things, but I'm trying to find a way to explain it away. But let's look at it this way, right? The government needs money. I don't think that's the best angle to come from.
Go on.
Yeah,
Go on.
I think I'm about to shoot myself in the foot. But yeah,
Go on.
the government does need money, and,
Right.
and they're just looking for ways to be able to raise more revenue, and we do need revenue. But I think what we can do as citizens
Right.
is to give valid feedback as concerns this. Also, I think the online malls and the people who have online transactions regularly as a part of their cash flow need to also engage with FIRS to explain how this is going to create multiple issues.
Shouldn't there have been some kind of processes to be followed before you bring up a policy of some sort that that will affect people? Why should these small owners and small businesses who you have been trying to, you have claimed to be trying to help, survive in the harsh economic condition, the harsh economic weather, be the one to call for a meeting?
This is the age-old discussion about Nigeria as a whole, from top to bottom. I remember I've asked many government officials this kind of a question too many times, and the usual response is policy will drive the discussion. So let's create the law first, and then if it pinches you, you come and explain to us, then we tweak it to make sure that it works. Or we create the policy first, and then it will drive the investment. We create the policy first, so we put the cart before the horse a lot of times.
What do you think discussion in this case will bring?
You see, I honestly believe it should be scrapped completely. Because if the truth be told, the fact is, if the government wants to tax transactions of buying goods and services, and they believe they should tax goods and services, then they should go and meet the online malls, right? And say, okay, the person that you're taking this good from, can the person give you or send the VAT to you, since you are the collection agent for the person,
right?
Collect the VAT for the person, and then we come and collect it from you.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it has nothing really to, because once you are paying the entire money, you assume that you are paying the VAT and everything for the goods and service. But yeah, I think what they're also trying to say is that some of the vendors do not pay VAT charges, but I don't think that is true, because most of them have physical stores. If you check, they always have physical stores. Many of them always have physical stores, and they put their prices in everything. So
Right.
if you, for instance, if you buy a phone from them, if you go to a physical store, it's most likely the same amount you're going to get the phone, because the VAT, everything has been put there. So
it's really a big conversation, because I was going to ask this question. I mean, I was listening to you and something came to my mind that, okay, so if we're talking about online malls and online companies that actually do business online, don't we have power to shut down any website we want to shut down in case they violate VAT, remittances, or anything? In case it's, are we operating?
The internet doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, but in the UK, they can actually shut down a website if you violate a website, if you violate their terms.
Well,
They can shut down a website in the UK.
not exactly, Not exactly. Okay, so there are processes to shutting down website, wherever you might be.
Wherever.
There are processes.
Right.
Copyright infractions, violations, there are processes. So it's an international process. It's not a localized process.
Right.
Now, if I set up a mall, an online transaction mall, what's to say I'm in Nigeria?
Okay.
So it can't be that. It has to be the companies that you go and meet. You can't shut down their website.
I'm
because
talking about the
they're not-
local companies now.
Even if the local companies, what's to say they're in Nigeria?
What proof do you have?
You don't.
That they're in Nigeria.
Exactly. There's no proof. You can't base your argument on, oh, these guys are selling stuff in Nigeria and they are not paying VAT. Shut them down. Nobody's going to listen to you. It's going to have to be something else around violations, and which of course there's an international standard for. But in the context of this company is registered in Nigeria,
Right.
does business in Nigeria, operates as a local business in Nigeria, then we go and meet them and say, yeah, you guys pay us your taxes. We see the transactions that are coming to you. This is the volume that is coming.
Right.
Obviously, we know this is the amount of sales you've made, so you should give us taxes for this. Simple.
Interesting. Let's go to the phone lines very quickly. I will take a few your messages on Facebook and Twitter in a moment. The WhatsApp line is 0809 597 5805. That is 0809 597 5805. And the numbers you can call 01277 0993 2771 993 2772 993 2773 993. I'll take the numbers again. 2770 993 2771 993 2772 993 and 2773 993. When you call, please make sure comments and your observation very short and straight to the point. Please do that for us. Olumiwa joins us now from Ajah. Olumiwa, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
When the government or state give us record that last year they have made 10 billion, but this year they have made 50 billion, we clap for them without asking them, what are you guys selling that you are making so much money? The reason they are increasing the tax and everything is because we in Nigeria, we don't demand for our rights. Now they wanted to increase the NEPA bill too. I think you know in the studio too.
Yeah.
They wanted to increase the fuel too, but they don't know how to do that one, so that revolution will not start. Good morning.
Good morning, Olumiwa. Take it easy, all right? Let's speak with Austin from Surulere. Austin, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everybody in the studio.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, so it's so sad that we have found ourselves in this situation. Situations in which major policy statements are put out, and yet there are no explanations. Then we come around just gesticulating and trying to guess what it is all about.
Exactly.
And I think that is what our main man in the studio is trying to do. Tuji is trying to do that. But it is so unfortunate. So I think the starting point would have been that let us bring the people that are in charge, the IFRS people, to explain this. What does it mean? Don't look at it now. I want to buy a ticket, an air ticket, to fly to wherever. I have already paid back. Then because it is an online thing, I have to pay another 5%.
Right.
And it cuts across all online, because it's so vague as it is now.
Exactly. It's very vague.
Yes, there has always been every government policy that we have seen or present. Just yesterday, you were talking of another one. We are talking of food. Major policy statements were put out without, first of all, addressing what it's all about. Then you leave the citizens begin to guess, is this how to run an economy? It's so sad.
It's so sad.
So
really.
I think what you should do is to bring in the FRS people to come and explain it.
So Austin, just to be clear, we actually did reach out. We did reach out to the FIRS, but they couldn't join us.
So where do we go from there?
We will continue. We will definitely continue. We will continue to reach out to them. Thank you for calling. Andy from Ajawa Estate joins us now. Andy, good morning to you.
Good morning, man. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very cool. Straight to the point. Like Tunji, I have already said, some of these online shops, some have physical shops actually, but others do not have.
Right.
And they are registered companies. They get these products from people who have physical shops and pay VAT on these products as they are getting it from them. Because these companies remit VAT to government every month, just like every company in this country remits VAT. This is the double taxation, taxing multiple times on one item that we do in this country.
Right.
Like, take for instance, do construction. I go and buy a product out there. I pay VAT on that product.
Right.
And the government will come back and charge me VAT again on the same product that I used. Take for instance, I bought cement. I pay VAT on the cement. And now when the government wants to charge me on VAT, they charge on total turnover of the company, including the cost of buying that cement that was which I paid VAT on earlier. These things are killing businesses. And you see yourself paying up to 10% VAT on one item instead of the 5% that is being collected. And another person will still pay VAT on the same product.
Right.
That's what they are trying to do. Don't buy from online. Those guys pay VAT because they remit, because now they say they will get it from the bank. And they will still collect VAT from these guys, from their turnover at the end of the year.
Right.
And now they still want you to pay through the bank. I mean, who is cheating who? Who is killing who?
Andy, thank you so much for calling. Augustine is here from Aja. Augustine, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I want to greet the guests in the studio.
Good morning. Good morning.
I have been following the issue of VAT in Lagos, and I think one candid observation I want to make is that the man at the federal level now was the man that started all the multiple taxation in Lagos, and that is the same idea of multiplication or multiplying.
You mean FIRS boss?
Yes, FRS boss.
Tunde Fowler.
Yes, he used to be the one in Lagos at the time of Fashola or Tinubu of those days, where taxes were multiplicated in every area.
Right.
And we are looking at this, we are not considering the pains and the impact. And even as a taxpayer, you really look at benefit that you benefit from even paying tax. When you supply yourself, your water is by yourself, your light is by yourself, everything is by yourself. We all live in estate in this country now. The estate, we pay estate dues, they use it to repair the road, they use it to fix light, they use it to... There is nothing, there is no presence of government.
Right.
In particular, and yet every day they keep devising views of this. And at the end of the day, they will make more people to go out of business, and this stress will result into other issues. My own take is just, I don't know if Nigerians can just rise up to this and let it go. The online people, you place an order.
Right.
The price has been placed for the order, inclusive of VAT tax. By the time the order is delivered and you make payment, extra money will not go out of your account again.
Abi?
There are so many times you request for bank statements, you see charges, and you begin to wonder where are all these charges coming from. And in fact, there's conspiracy between banks and government.
Ah, okay. All right, Augustus, let's leave that part. Augustus, thanks for calling. Michael from Ikorodu. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sherry.
Morning, Michael.
Yeah. If I understand what we are talking about very well.
Right.
Now, is it that this is only happening in Lagos or throughout Nigeria?
In Nigeria. Nigeria.
This is interesting. So for us now to buy things online, it's going to be very difficult now. So because if I know they are actually going to charge me again for what I am buying online, why should I buy online? At the end of the day, because even what we expense from the bank alone, the ATM charges alone, is enough for some people not to even use the ATM. You know, we are counting the number of times we even use our ATM card on our ATM now. Because you know that at the end of the day, there is a specific amount that is going to be charged. So a lot of us, even doing online transactions now, we are calculating it. We are very, very calculative on this thing.
Right.
So the online shops, online malls are the ones that will face this road now, because many people will desist from buying things online. So the online shops have to fight for the masses.
All right.
With what is going on now.
All right.
So
then.
I think the Nigerian government should change their mind or have a rethink on what they are talking about.
Okay, Michael.
All
right, Michael. Much. Thank you for calling. Wale from Agbara joins us on the show. Wale, good morning to you.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, yeah. Please, there's a kind of correction I want to make.
Yes, please.
I think some people are, they are not understanding certain things. Although effect of the consequence of direct tax, in which VAT is part of, is borne by the customer. But I want people to check out when they buy from the shopping mall. It's a consumption tax, and they are not debiting them. If you buy something for 20 naira,
right,
what you pay is 20 naira. It is the person that sell it to you that bear the consequence. So it's not a matter of people saying they are going to charge me. There's a lot of double taxation going on as far as tax is concerned.
right.
But when you look at it, you will see that if they are saying item is 400 naira, look at what you pay. It's 400 naira.
That's
so
right.
you pay the fat goes to the person that sells it to you. Thank you.
Okay. Oh wow. You are you there? Oh, Wale has gone. I was going to cite an example of that I cited when we had this conversation, Tuji, yesterday on the chit chat around 6:30 or thereabout. That I went to a pizza shop to go and get pizza, and after paying for my pizza, which they told me the amount. And when I got the receipt, I mean, I'm in the habit of checking the receipt that you are giving to me. I check to make sure that, call me stingy if you like, but I check to make sure that, I'm being billed for what I'm said to have obtained. So I checked, I saw the real price for the pizza. I'm just reacting to, Wale's last comment.
I know.
And I saw the tax value for that. So in his argument, he said consumption tax, and yet I'm being billed for the consumption tax. But he said that I'm not being billed.
It's in every receipt. It's in every receipt. It's just that when people are selling items to you,
right,
as in the store, many at times they're not going to now say, okay,
break it down.
You just pay for the. But when it comes to, for instance, consumption tax, as he also said, it's separated. You see the item itself, blah 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 blah. So
but I get to pay the tax.
Of course not. Who wants to pay it again?
But how about other commodities that are not? Do we call those ones
because again, another part what in what he is trying to say, even if in the situation where he's saying that the seller bears the brunt, where do you think the seller is going to put it on?
Exactly, it's
going
not going to run at a loss.
Of course.
Indeed. Let's get back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning to you. We lost that. Hello, good morning. We lost that as well. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, morning.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Shegun. Good morning. Shegun from Oba.
Shegun, welcome.
Thank you. I think it's important to just... Tunji has explained this very thoroughly. I think it's important for people to understand that ordinarily, when you talk about value-added tax, it's a trail. So the whole point of the tax is you are taxing the value that is being added as a product is moving through its value chain. So ultimately, you as the final consumer is the one paying that tax, and then everybody along the line, right back to the manufacturer, pays and charges the next person along the chain. So there really shouldn't be any double if everybody does what they are supposed to do in tracking, what they've been paying.
Right.
So it's important for people to understand that. So if government is now saying they want to start charging VAT on online transactions, like Tunji said, the only catch and the only fear that I have is how do you define what are the transactions that fall into that category, online transactions? So once we are sure that it's only things that, purchase of goods and services, then I'm fine.
Not me buying 1,000 naira recharge card, right?
Well, that even when you do that today, it's already been batted.
Right.
When you do that today,
That's
because
right.
the telcos are going to pay to government, and they've already built it into the 1,000.
Yeah, but they're saying that they will still charge me. Well, they're still saying that they will charge me.
No.
That's called online transaction.
They can't do that, and I think that's what Tunji was saying. That's what Tunji was saying. So you can't suddenly now add 1,000 naira on top of that.
500 naira or so.
50 naira. Is it
50 naira? Yeah, 50
on
naira.
top of that 1,000, and I will now pay 1,050 naira. Then you are double taxing me. So once that distinction is clear, but if I'm doing a transfer from myself, for instance, to Tunji, and you tax me, that's not, and I mean, then there's a problem.
Shago,
If that's what they're defining as online transaction.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling.
I like the way he ended. He said, and then there's problem.
Tunji, thank you so much for joining also the show this morning. It's been an amazing conversation. Hope we've been able to explain away some of these things. If we, it's the information we got. That's the much we can do.
Right.
If they come tomorrow and now, break it down that this is what they meant by online transaction, then we can come back and, look at it again. But in the meantime, many thanks to Zainab Yakin, Ibn Haifo, and Tosin Akinrede for assisting us being the show this morning. The news comes up right now. And yes, Tunji is still in the studio for Money, Business, and Economy show. I'm Sharif Quadry. Good morning to you.